All right, good morning. It's Graham Healy again, and this time I'm going to do a brief video on the Healy's boot camp survival pack for our lose 6 kilos of body weight before Christmas diet. Now, primarily this is a keto diet, and you know, if you're lacking energy, which can happen when you drop the carbs out, your body has to adapt to basically you're surviving without carbohydrate and switch to ketosis. Now, there's a couple of tips. I mean, we have myself and my other half, we're having a sauna the other day, in a Swedish sauna, and listening to a couple of fitness instructors, and one fitness instructor said, "Oh, you're on the keto diet, are you?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Oh, well, we tried that, but we couldn't endure it, basically. You know, in other words, they dropped their carbs down, and well, that's what everyone thinks a keto diet is." And I said to her, quite a fit looking girl too, I said to her, "What was the level of your fats?" And of course, big question mark went into the brain. Obviously, she didn't know. So I'll just let you know about that. Now, regarding the ketosis, you go on to, there'll be a link down below this video again, and it will guide you to Dr. Aminga's graphic diagrams of the body's metabolism. In particular, he describes how ketones are formed in the body. Now, it's quite a complicated process. Long story short is that the liver will create ketones when it runs out of carbohydrates. So when you drop your carbs down, i.e. white sugars, anything to do with carbohydrates, you drop them right down low. The body then does a switch, and it switches to ketones, which ketones directly pull fats out of the system. And usually you have to do that. Well, not usually. You have to do it in a fasted state. So when we talk about fasts, you know, I don't want you to imagine you're in the desert there, you know, parched for water for 40 days and 40 nights. I'm not talking that sort of fast. I'm talking, you know, even in the various church groups I've been in, in particular, there was one particular organization, every Sunday they said, food, food, glorious food. They seem to worship food. Anyway, I won't go into that. But at the end of the day, when you drop the carbohydrate, the ketosis will cut over. You want to have a look at the full diagrammatic explanation of that. Go to the bottom of the page, look at the human metabolism on our longevity page on healyslowbackpain.com. Now, how can you maintain low carbs, almost no, well, under 50 grams of carbs, 50 to 100 grams of carbs, which is 3 parts of stuff all in local terms? How do you maintain that? Well, the answer is that you have to increase your good fats. Now, when I say increase your good fats, I'm talking really increase your good fats. In other words, you've got to pull the good fats, i.e. hemp seed oil, which is the one we recommend. Hemp seed is basically the marijuana plant without the psychedelics in it. It's quite a beneficial oil. It's a green. It looks a little bit green because it's got plenty of chlorophyll in it. So hemp seed oil is used worldwide now, and we have a very good supplier in Melbourne at Mount Elephant. Now, I've got PDF files where I've got all the references. You can go and buy it direct. We're giving you this information, and I'm not charging you an arm and a leg. Actually, I'm charging absolutely nothing to give you this advice. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry where people are just making money out of naive, uneducated people, you know. The other day I had some person say to me, well, you know, I tried the low-carb diet, and I'm now getting blood tests, and they're working on my DNA. if you can explain to me how your DNA is relevant to a diet, just let me know. Just put a comment on the references that you've got and the scientific information that you've got. Well, I've only done 6 years med science, so I don't know much, but I certainly haven't heard of your DNA determining your diet. The thing is, in today's world is just full of BS artists everywhere. And then I had another lady say to me, well, I've tried the vegan diet and it didn't work. You see, you know, when anyone asks me anything, be it the vegan diet or be it, oh, we tried the keto diet and it didn't work, all that sort of stuff, you know, these general statements mean nothing to me. Some people have come and said to me, this is in the med science diagnosis thing, oh, yeah, but we've been to a, you know, physiotherapist and we've been to, you know, our local GP and we've been to a dietitian and you've been everywhere. I know that. You know, I know that because I tell you why I know that. Because the inquiries I get, whether it be diet, whether it be training, whether it be diagnosing injuries, which I'm qualified to do, they've been everywhere before. So that's why they come to us. When I say us, you know, myself and a few associates which actually know what they're talking about. And the bottom line is this, and I won't hammer this subject too much. The bottom line is this. I operated out of a fitness center. I had offices there for about 20 years, and I had a Chinese-trained acupuncturist. I did all the rehab/personal training at that stage where I didn't have my med science degree. And I had a really good chiropractor, a really practical chiropractor that I used to use. And we would get seemingly miracle cures. Like people have back injuries, for instance, and suddenly in 2 to 3 weeks, we'd fix them up. And what I found consistently, a lot of these clients that came to me, like, I'd just do a fitness assessment, you know, have you had any back injuries, blah, blah, blah. And they'd come out with all these sort of stories. And I'd say to them, so you were going to a certain health practitioner, be it an acupuncturist, be it a physio, be it your local GP, be it anyone in the medical circles. And that's, oh, yes, we've been there. And my next question usually was, well, did you get any results? Oh, no, we didn't. It didn't work. We didn't get any results. And then my next question would be, you know, this is a hard one. Why did you keep going there? And that was the response. I got 20 years I was doing that. And not once did those people that came to me, was thousands of clients, not one of them got a result from the established system. Not one, right? And then, of course, what we did was a correct diagnosis. We did a correct analysis. And after that, I would suggest that our 3 main pillars, which were, you know, acupuncture. Now I'm, you know, got master's qualifications in dry needling where we use acupuncture needles. And even regarding stretching exercises, I actually formulated some of the stretching exercise with clients who had chronic kyphosis and all these sort of different injuries. And they're doing all this absolutely silly stuff, but it was silly stuff given to them by so-called qualified people. So look, at the end of the day, if wherever you're going, whatever health practitioner, dietitian, whatever, if you're not getting a result within 2 to 3 weeks, something's not right. They are taking you down what I call the drip feed line of taking your money, giving you nothing. It reminds me of Klaus Schwab. You know, you'll be absolutely happy and have nothing. These are these sort of people. So I'm dealing with that sort of the end of the continuum all the time. As another example, on and I'll get back to the diet in a second, on Healy's lowerbackpain.com. One of my associates who came to me with lateral epicondylitis. Now, he's a doctor, he's a registered doctor, and he's a research science, and he's a biochemist. So his medical knowledge is pretty good. But the lateral epicondylitis, he trains at the gym. He's also an officer in the Air Force, a relieving officer in the Air Force. So he contacted me and he said, look, mate, I've got pretty serious lateral epicondylitis in both arms. And I said, who have you been to, mate? The usual story, 7 different practitioners, 2 acupuncturists, a physio, a chiropractor. The list goes on. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I said, let me have a look at it. And most of the treatments that I do, I fix them in 24 hours. I just repeat that. Most of the treatments I do, I fix them in 24 hours. Just let that settle into your head. And you know why? Because they're always misdiagnosed, every single one I look at. Now, I'm not saying I fix everyone in 24 hours, but about 90%, maybe even 95%, 24 hours would be a 50% relief factor, unless they've got something chronic or they've got some sort of really serious injury that's like, something to do with the skeletal system that's not to do with muscular. Anyway, I'll get into the diet in a second, but I'll just let you know about that because I'm doing an advertisement shortly, fixed in 24 hours. So getting back to Dr. Matt, I did the special technique that I use on his lateral, to treat the lateral epicondylitis with the acupuncture needles. And that process, I need to do it for about half an hour. So got to leave the needles in to do, the work. Anyway, after I'd finished, I said to him, okay, give me a ring in 24 hours. He got back to me in 24 hours and he said, I don't know what you've done, but it doesn't hurt anymore. Oh, really? As we hear this all the time. I say, okay. I said, so leave it go another 24 hours and see where we go from there. Well, he did. Still no pain. 12 months later, no pain. He fixed it. Now, of course, he's not going to do the repetitive strain injuries that he did in the gym in the first place. But the treatment I used fixed it in 24 hours. Now, here's another story for me. Now, as I say, done 6 years med science, and I know what everyone talks about, what they try to do. I've seen it. I've operated in it. I've watched the experts claim to do certain things. And it never, ever results in good results maximum results within a 24-hour period. Now, I'm not saying that's everything. I say at least 90% to 95% of musculoskeletal injuries. My case, I had supraspinatus issue. In other words, I couldn't lift my shoulder above that. 6 months the injury was there. I rang a mate of mine who was a massage therapist for, I think, the Brisbane Broncos. I said, mate, can you help me out? I've tried everything. I tried all the physio exercises. I was just a master personal trainer at that time. I didn't have a med science degree. He said, mate, I've got someone who does dry needling. Oh, yeah? What's that? I said, yeah, well, they use acupuncture needles. I said, acupuncture? He said, oh, no, not, yeah, sort of, but they use acupuncture needles. I went, oh, okay, mate, I'll give it a go. How long will it take to work? How many treatments do I need? He said, usually one. I said, what? I've had this injury for 6 months. That was 10 years ago. I went in there, a girl, very good. She did the treatment on me about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I walked away from there. 24 hours later, it was like 50% was gone. 2 days later, could move the arm again. Never come back. Never came back. Now, who did I learn these fantastic skills from? There is one doctor. He's an osteopath. He's also holds a master's degree in acupuncture, and he's one of the original dry needling experts, Dr. Wayne Mamu. That's who signed my certificates. Travels the world healing people with dry needling. And Dr. Wayne is the best, the very best. So if you've got, whatever med science degree you've got, and you want to be a good dry needler for trigger points and muscular injuries, I recommend Dr. Wayne Mamu. But you've got to study it. You can't do these courses unless you're doing a med science degree or you're in the health profession. You need the anatomy and physiology knowledge before you actually do these courses properly. So I went through and did the master certification, and I'll tell you what, it's the best thing I ever did. Out of the 6 years of university doing med science, the dry needling course by Dr. Wayne was probably the icing on the cake. Okay, get back to the diet. I just got sidetracked. I don't know why. I was thinking of 2 things at once, as usual. Now, you're on your ketosis diet. You want to understand everything about ketosis. As I say, go onto my website, healeyslowrbackpain.com. Go to the longevity page, anti-aging and longevity page. It's on the light box that comes across when you actually go on the website. Click on that. There's a multitude of information. You'll see Dr. Matt Bambling there, my other associate, and I've got a couple other guys like the head naturopath that used to be in charge of Musashi, Rodney Campbell, who's a great mate of mine as well. He's one of my advisors at large. Okay, now I'm just going to show you a couple of products, which I did on the first video, but this one is, you see, I'm not recommending anything for the medical disclaimer. You can do whatever you like. You can go and see your GP. You can go to your dietitian. You can go to the young bloke who's a personal trainer down the gym. You can talk to your little home group at church. They're all talking about diets. I'm not recommending anything. I'm just telling you what works for me and what has worked for thousands of clients that I've trained, advised in all sorts of dimensions over the last 40 years. What would I know, eh? Right? Okay, so here we go. Now, throw yourself into ketosis. Look at the video on the body's metabolism. I'm going to do another video where I've done this on a whiteboard too. Now, when you drop the carbs completely out just about, and you replace it with good oils and fats, your brain actually uses the ketones to survive. So it normally uses carbohydrates. The ketones is what it uses. Now, here's a few little tricks for the Healy's Lose 6K. I'm talking about me now. I wouldn't be talking about general advice now, would I? Losing 6K in 6 weeks before Christmas. Now, when Christmas comes along, I assume you don't want to put 6K back on eating crap over Christmas, right? What I'm teaching you here is, like, I was a coach for Body for Life, the transformational challenges. We took people, and I was a head coach here in Queensland, and that was Bill Phillips, Body for Life trademark. And I put people through that competition, the 12-week competition, got fantastic results, got some champion results and what have you, and people who only train 3 days a week. That's a whole nother issue. I'm not going into that in this video. Okay, now, Vital Greens. Make certain you go and buy it. You can buy it off my website, Healy's Health or Yunjun Healy. You know, you can buy this product, but this has got 78 nutrients in it. 1 teaspoon's like having rocket fuel, all right? Metamucil, all right? A little bit of sugar in this, not much, but it's psyllium husks, all right? Now, you put Metamucil, and the other thing I forgot to grab is chai seeds. Get the black chai seeds from Coles. Mix these two together. Put them into a container about this big with a lid on it. Shake it up. Shake it all up. Put 1 teaspoon of Vital Greens in with it. And that is what you have, say around about 10 o'clock. It goes into a gel. You can sort of eat it like a little porridge thing, cold thing. And what happens when you put the Metamucil and these two into the stomach, it forms a gel, and then it cleanses the whole intestinal tract. All right. Now, first thing in the morning, this is about mid-morning, first thing in the morning, you have one of those little sachets of Carmen's porridge. It's 150 calories, hardly any sugar in it. And that also puts a gel into the stomach, and you stop yourself from feeling hungry, right? Okay, so number 1, Carmen's porridge, small, 150 calories it is, 50 grams it is, not much. And I have all this on another PDF file. This is the boot camp survival pack, you know, when you're feeling, oh, I'm losing energy, right? Okay, now the oils, if you can get hold of Udo's oils, they went out of stock. It's made in Canada. This has got all the oils together, or both. You have the Kickstart, which is Melrose medium chain triglycerides. The other one, as I mentioned, was hemp oil, Mount Elephant hemp oil. Now, here's another little trick that I use for the boot camp people. You can buy this chocolate. Yes, chocolate. And it's got 1 gram of sugar in it. So it's low sugar, and it just gives you a little bit of a kick up if you need it. It's like you're on a boot camp, and the army boot camps, they have chocolate. They have normal chocolate. But this one, I recommend. It's got the vegan tick, and it's got a little no artificial flavors or anything in it. It's Coles, $4.50. You can get a couple of different flavors. So I have that in the fridge just in case I feel like a little bit of chocolate with my green tea and oils. There it is. Pink Lady, apple. Valencia orange. Now, with the apple, just cut them up into pieces, put them in a little container, and when you're feeling you need a little bit of extra, just have cut up apple. Now, there's not much carbs in that, but when you're eating the whole apple that way, you know, whatever carbohydrates in the apple, a little bit of fructose in that, it slowly distributes itself into the system. Now, with the orange, the good old orange, the Valencia orange, just cut that up into you know, slices and just eat them as you would in football. That will give you instant energy. I used to go to the gym and have a little plastic container with 1 or 2 cut up oranges before intensive workouts. And I would use that, you know, these days I can use Resurrect and other stuff that we've got, branched chain aminos. But when you're caught short and you haven't had a very small bowl of rice before a heavy gym workout, the old cut up oranges work wonders. They give you enough energy for about 3/4 an hour, and that's all you need. Now, the other thing is, if you're snacking, there they are, you know, mixed natural nuts. You've got almonds, you've got hazelnuts, and what are these ones here? They look like the little brains. I just can't think of it. Walnuts, that's them. So they're all full of good oil, so you can snack on them. The other thing you might find, you can go to Coles now, and you can get these vegan lime chili chips. Not that I recommend you eating a whole lot of chips, but they're very low in sugar, very low in salt, and they're sweet potato. So they're different coloured sweet potato. And the good old South Pacific Islanders, all my South Pacific Island mates from the Cook Islands, they got taro in them, you know. So all the islanders grow taro. So these chips are recommended, guys. And when you look at it, at the back here, you've only got 11 grams of carbs per whatever it is here, about 20 grams of a serving. And sugar's only 2.4, which is a couple of grains, nothing to worry about. And this is the other one I discovered in Coles the other day. I'll take the peg off it. It's shiitake mushroom chips. It's actually, they're lightly cooked mushrooms. You know, I was looking for the blue meanies, but we couldn't find them there. They're just shiitake mushrooms, and they're quite nice. They're a little bit flavored. They got a little bit of carbs, but hey, you know, if you're feeling peckish, have a couple of mushrooms. You know, have some mushies. Now, the other thing is, this is gold. Peck's natural peanut butter. Now, the bodybuilders use this to cut up as well, so it takes away your hunger. So, you know, if you're feeling hungry, like today, like I work a property as well as part of my big portfolio. I do about 3 hours on a property every morning, and so in the mornings I'd have the Carmen's porridge. Then about 9 o'clock, so I'll get there pretty early, about 9-ish. I have the Metamucil, little mix with water, chai seeds, and the vital greens. So that's pure nutrients. See, hardly any calories, but pure nutrients, and forms a gel in the stomach. Then I'll get home around about 11 o'clock or so, and then I'll have just 2 pieces of either Soul Brothers bread, maybe 1 piece of that. Then it's made of pumpkin and rice flour. And the other one I've got is I forget what the name, Lenroy Brothers or something. They're a very low carb bread, and they've got pea protein, they've got sunflower seeds, everything good in this. It looks a lot of seeds in this bread, and I only have 2 pieces of that and heaps of peanut butter on it. That's all. And once you have just 2 pieces of that, they're small, very small, 2 pieces of that with peanut butter, you don't feel hungry. Now, the other thing, the key other thing that I've got actually on the PDF file is kombucha, no sugar. Now, kombucha, we use Remedy brand. We've done the references for that. Kombucha is basically fermented green tea. Sometimes I use oolong tea with the Chinese tea, and they put it through a little fermenting process, which gives it a little bit of carbs, carbohydrates that is, and Remedy itself keeps fermenting it for about 40 days. 40 days and 40 nights, folks. 40 days, and it takes all the sugars out. So, of course, sugar plus yeast equals, you know, it puts a carbonate into the drink. So kombucha, no sugar kombucha, all natural. It's vegan approved, and you can replace it if you're drinking soft drinks. For God's sake, get onto kombucha. This is a survival boot camp thing. So I'm telling you, off the booze, off the soft drinks, off all the refined carbohydrates. You know, if you want to be healthy, live healthy. Don't eat any rubbish. Yeah, makes sense. So now the other thing is, I showed you this last time. When you're training, so you know, I'm training martial arts 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm going to pull my weights training back in. Now, these days, I'm not focusing on weights training and doing, like, you know, bodybuilding as such. I'm just focusing on keeping my flexibility and martial arts flexibility and all that. So I'm sort of focusing more on just overall workout. During your workout, I recommend Urban Muscle Resurrect, which is branched chain aminos, It's HMB and L-glutamine. They're the three main aminos that you need during a workout. Now, they've got a different label these days, but same stuff in it. And the other thing that you might put in your Resurrect is Caruso's Super Magnesium Powder. Caruso's brand, I thoroughly recommend. Their products, I use them all the time. Caruso's an Australian company. He's a naturopath in Sydney, top bloke. He's made some fantastic formulas, and their formulas are very economically priced, and they're basically naturopath strength. See, I've got, myself and Dr. Matt have got, the agencies for various naturopathic companies, but we found that Caruso's is probably as close as you're going to get to commercially available naturopathic products without having to go to a naturopath and, double the price in what they're giving you, okay? Now, this one relieves muscular cramps and mild muscle spasms. It's got 5 different magnesiums in it. Caruso knows what he's doing, and I'll add about a heaped teaspoon in my resurrection drink. The other thing is, during training, I'm talking you're a boot camp person. Now, I do physical work on the property, even if you're at the gym. You do need, this is the only time you're allowed on our diet, sugar in the form of, I recommend, Gatorade. Now, you say, oh, you're on the keto diet, you're recommending Gatorade. Yes, I am, during a workout only. So if your carbs drop out and you're working hard, like as in maybe a workout in the gym, you really need this one, these amino acids. And for the vegans and that, originally the amino acids made through the system was like fermenting soya and all this sort of stuff. They used to do that in Japan. Don't know whether they do that totally these days, but certainly the amino acids are just in their pure form, their free form. Now, when you're doing a workout, say each 30 minutes, usually a workout shouldn't last any more than 30 or 40 minutes. Just get one of those 1 liter bottles of Gatorade, and each 250 ml is only about 80 calories. But the important thing, it's got electrolytes in it. Salts, electrolytes, you need that because the whole body operates like a battery system. Positive and negative ions transporting inside cells. So I've advised aerobics instructors before, they're just about collapsing in their classes. And I said to them, well, what are you having? And they said, well, we're having, we're hydrating. And I said, what with? Water. Yeah, water. I said, well, that's why you're dropping out. Because the body needs fluids, and the fluids should contain some sugars and salts, being electrolytes. That's what you really need. So like the other day, myself and, once a week, myself and Anna do the, the sauna, spa, swimming pool thing, to relax the muscles and joints and all that sort of stuff, and have a bit of a chat about the whole week. And in the sauna, which is like a Swedish sauna, proper one with the rocks on it and all that sort of stuff, there's various people there. There's fitness instructors. Sometimes we run into housewives. Sometimes the kickboxers go in there as well. And we have a bit of a chat about things. And we notice that just people are drinking water. Well, we've got Gatorade in there. And I tell you that the day we didn't have it, or we left the Gatorade outside, we got very dizzy. And the reason you get dizzy is not because you haven't got water inside, it's your electrolytes. So that's a little tip. Yes, you're going to wipe all the sugars out during the day. During the day, forget the sugars. No, 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 no. But if you're in the sauna, or if you're doing a workout, some sugars are necessary. Otherwise, your whole body will drop out. Your whole body, you can get dizzy and collapse. All right? Now, during the day, the 24-hour cycle in between these workouts, we're talking about, or the sauna or whatever, no Gatorade. No, you're not going to drink that as a normal drink, right? No, no, no. It's on the Gatorade during the day. During physical work, sip it is okay with water, right? Now, in the ketosis, drop the carbs to nothing diet, boot camp with soldiers training. Now, a little bit of this will help you out. No carbs in that. Well, there's hardly any carbs. Let's have a look. 1 gram of carbs. But because it's chocolate, it gives you a bit of energy anyhow. But the Gatorade thing, maybe you have 250 ml of Resurrect, and you might put in 250 ml of Gatorade in the mix and drink that. Or I keep them separate. I have Gatorade, I'll have this, and I'll have water, 3 things. So anyway, you want to get into the supplement thing a little bit more in depth, you can contact me and have a bit of a chat about it. But we're back to the boot camp diet, right? Okay, now, oh yeah, here's the pea protein that I recommend. That's by Bulk Nutrients. Now, Urban Muscle are putting out a pea protein beginning of next year. And the other one, of course, is Platinum Protein, which is the Urban Muscle brand that we normally use. That's ultra filtered whey. It's got egg albumin. It's got whey. It's got about 5 different proteins in it. And why we recommend that is hardly any carbs in it. It's got, let me have a look now. It's got a big 3 grams of carbs. So there's 0 carbs, you may as well say, in that. And it's like a slow release formula. Okay, now, here's the bottom line. As I said to you before, your total calorie counts or total gram count should be this. Whatever your lean body mass is, you're on 0.5 a gram of protein to 1 gram of protein should be enough. So my lean body mass, 85K. I'm 93 now. I've got to get down to 85. So 85K by 1 is about 80 grams of protein, or 0.5, 40 to 50, say 60 grams of protein. Now, you match that with good oils. How do you do that? Well, flaxseed, the flaxseed oils, did I bring it? I buy the Blackmore's capsules, because flaxseed's a bit hard to take by the teaspoon. And people ask me, okay, why not the fish oils? Well, if you can stomach the fish oils, yes. But I'm always a bit suspicious about what sort of process they put fish oil through. Ooh. You know, and it always tastes, it always regurgitates on me. So for me, I just use pure flaxseed, organic flaxseed oil by Blackmore's in capsules. 6 of them a day. 2 in the morning, 2 at lunch, 2 at night, 2, make it 8 a day. It really, the more the better, to a limit, right? So let's say 8. And of course, I'm not advising you of that. This is what I'm taking. I take a minimum of 6 capsules a day, 2, 4, 6, and maybe 2 extra, probably 8 a day I take. Now, regarding the Udo's oils, which is a mix of 3, 6, and 9, you know, the omega-3, 6, and 9. It's got flax and everything in it, but you can have that in your coffee or green tea. The MTC oils, usually that's good to have before a workout, because that's hydrogenized coconut oil. So they get the MCT, medium chain triglycerides, out of coconut oil, actually. So how do I keep those fats up? Right. Say in the morning, I'll have a cup of coffee and I'll put 2 dessert spoons of hemp seed oil in, which a dessert spoon's around about 10 ml. So 20 ml, boom, 20 grams straight away. And then lunchtime, I might have another 1 or 2. I've just had another 1 or 2 in my green tea here. So the green tea, if you can see that in there. And the green tea we use is Twining's green tea, or any other brand that, you know, is like organic green teas and all this sort of stuff. So usually I put the oils in the tea or coffee or what have you and drink them during the day. And then what you find when you put those oils in the system, it helps you, it processes through the body, and it helps you, it has a sort of laxative effect. So it helps the whole system cleanse itself continuously. especially the oils are good for your joints. So if your joints are aching and your tendons are all sore, as soon as you lift these oils up, it lubricates them. It's as simple as that. The oils are actually part of building the body system. So if you're dry on oils, you'll be like a squeaky machine. So keeping the oils high is beneficial all around. And in ketosis, the liver utilizes those oils as a main source of fuel then, rather than needing or craving carbohydrates. Okay, so the takeout picture is this. The only carbs you should be having is apples, oranges, maybe a little bit of low-carb bread, maybe a little bit of basmati rice, no more than 50 to 100 grams a day. Better if you can keep it at 50, but that's pretty hard. So your carb around about 50 to 100 a day. Your proteins based on 0.5 gram per kilo of lean body mass, 0.5 to 1 gram per day body mass, and your fats equaling the proteins. In other words, for me, it'll be about 50 to 80 grams of protein today, a day. It'll be 50 to 80 grams of good fats, flax, hemp, MCTs, and maybe some Udo's oils if they're back in stock, either or. And the carbs, bang, down really low, right? And just the tricks, you have the apple or the orange a whole, and you might have that mid-afternoon when you feel like it. So it's just like when you're playing, when I used to play rugby league, up in towns are really hot, the ladies used to cut up oranges half time. And I mean, it was really hot up there, and we had the long woolly sort of, we didn't have those thin jerseys they've got now. We had the really hot ones. And so hot plus, temperatures in town, you just about kill yourself doing running on a footy game. But I remember the ladies would have all the cut up oranges there at half time, and man, we'd get into them and boom, she'd give you such a boost. You try that. Cut up oranges. It sounds simple. Just one cut up orange, you try that and your energy level just increases dramatically. And use it also as a cleansing, it sort of cleans the palate really, really well. All right, okay. The other fruits you can use, of course, are pears, strawberries, got no sugar in them at all, hardly any fructose at all, and rock melons. The rock melons are very good. So they're, from what I remember, they're very low in carbs anyhow. So the other thing is, when you go on the website, there is a calorie count. You can download an app that you can load on your phone. I mean, I've got it on my phone. I don't use it much these days, but when I'm really sort of trying to cut right down, I might use the app to make certain I've got just the 80 grams of carbs, the 50 to 80 grams of fats, and 50 to 80 grams of fats, about 80 grams of carbs, and trying to keep the carbohydrates down as low as possible. Aim for 50 a day, no more. Maybe you'll go to 100. And if you keep it around there, your calorie count's around about 1,000 calories a day. If you don't lose weight on that, there's something seriously wrong. Anyone would, you're fasting. The other thing, the thing about the fasted state, so in ketosis, you are fasting. Yeah. And what happens is the body cleans itself up in a fasted state. You're hydrated and you have your little bit of Gatorade and all that sort of stuff, not too much. Remember, 250 ml of Gatorade's only about 80 calories. So you got stuff all. And when you're training, you'll burn that up immediately. It's the residual sugars in the bloodstream that do the damage, right? So I mentioned that on the first video. So, I forget where I was. Okay, so the bottom line is this: 80 grams, 50 to 80 grams of proteins, be it pea protein, whey protein, whatever. Get those proteins in, be it, in what you're eating. Say like the low carb bread I had, just 2 pieces with 25 grams of protein, because they got all these seeds in it. So just keep an eye on that. Your fats, keep them up 50 to 80 grams. You increase the fats, will stop you from feeling hungry, will supply the energy that you need, because the body is in ketosis. And the carbs, 50 to 100 grams. Now, I'm not saying drop the fruits altogether, but remember, if you get like, okay, oh, that's right. That's what I was thinking of. Now, you do this most of the week. You got one meal. You got one meal that you can have off. And I'm not saying you go and eat rubbish, but you let yourself off the chain a little bit. Because when you're weighing yourself, I'm weighing myself at the moment, and you see, I'm sitting on 93.5. It was, I started at about 98, 97, 96, 95, 95. Now I'm down at 93.5. So I want to crack 90 in the next 4 weeks, go under. And then from Christmas right through to probably May, I want to be down to 85, and that's where I'm going to keep it. The other thing is spring water. Have one of these with you everywhere you go. You're feeling hungry, clean your teeth with a natural toothpaste like Grant's toothpaste, and don't have to drink a lot of water, because water can bleach you out. It can take your electrolytes out. But you're feeling a little bit hungry, just have water. It works for people in concentration camps, doesn't it? Anyway, so that's it on this one. This is the boot camp. What am I going to do with the boot camp? Right, I'm honing down. I'm cutting down. I'm right down low. So I'm going to use the flaxseed oils. I'm going to use the capsules. I'm going to use the hemp oils. I'm going to use the MCT oils. I'm going to use the Udo's oils. The total oils is around about 50 to 80 grams, and that's a fair bit. That's like, as an example, one dessert spoon's around about 10 grams. So 2 dessert spoons I put in coffee in the morning. It's 20 grams of oil. And I do that 3 times a day. So you got 3 tubes, that's 60 grams of oil. But you got those oils in the system. The body flexes, the muscles are fully lubricated, because the body picks it up and uses it to build with the proteins and fats and oils, good fats, good oils. Now, I'll leave you on this one thing. This is a little bit of medical science for you. Now, why not animal fats? Now, I'm not against, personally, I'm not against lean beef and all that. Now, my other half's total 100% vegan. I still have, fresh fish and range-fed eggs, no problem. Chooks are still okay, right? Regarding the beef thing, why you've got to, if you're a beef eater, which some of my associates own cattle properties and they export beef to Japan and everything, you've got to get those saturated fats down low. And the reason is a lot of people say, oh, well, saturated fat's not going to worry you, mate. Yeah, okay, mate. I used to work in the cardiac section in the hospital, mate. And, smoking's all right, Uncle such and such, he smoked all his life and he didn't die of lung cancer. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was 1 in 1,000 maybe. The rest died a miserable death of lung cancer with their lungs being removed, sounding like Darth Vader. Oh, look, I'll have whatever I like in the service station. I'll have 4 pies. They're about 60 grams of saturated fat per pie. And I'll have 3 of those cream donuts, crusty donut, or whatever the hell they call them. 3. Each donut's got about probably about 5 tablespoons of sugar. Yeah, Doc, I wonder why. I've got diabetes and I can't feel the nerves in my legs. Why is that? If I was a doctor, I'd say, well, unfortunately, you are what you eat. Now, just remember that. You are what you eat. You want to be healthy? As I said to you before, drop the sugars, increase the good fats, drop the saturated fats. I'm going to tell you something about that in a second. Alcohol. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have me beers, mate. Oh, you're going to have your sugar plus your methylated spirits, have you? Because methylated spirits is the same alcohol that's in all the drinks, right? So, I used to have a few beers when I was, playing footy. But it's never any good for me. I used to have a bit of a reaction to beer. I mean, I wasn't it didn't worry me too much, but boy, I'd put on the weight drinking beer because it's full of sugar. Yeah. So, my advice is if you want to really be Mr. Super Healthy, then drop all the crap, including the alcohol, including the cigarettes. And so if you want to depend on that stuff, yeah, go ahead. Switch the video off. See you in hospital later, brother, And, oh, poor Uncle such and such, he's got cancer. Okay. I bet you if I look at his diet and his exercise habits, and I'm not saying that's everyone who gets cancer, but it'd be about 99 or 95% of them. It'll be their lifestyle habits, their long-term eating habits, and even their mental habits causes things as well. So anyway, that's another video for another time. So you are what you eat. And if you claim to be a health expert, which a lot of people do these days, they seem to be, I don't know what training they've done, but they're health experts all of a sudden. Have they done the health expert course? Where I don't know, but it seems everyone's a health expert. Must be the YouTube, internet or something. They're an expert in everything, right? Yeah, I've been to university, remember, and I know all the so-called experts, and I'm not going to go down that road, unfortunately, and will get me into a lot of trouble. So, okay, that's it for Graham Healy, the boot camp. I'll put out a PDF file with this broken down, very simplified, what the limits are, what the limits for carbs, fats, and carbohydrates. And that last thing that I was going to say, I just remembered it then, saturated fat. Yeah, okay. Butter's all right for you, mate. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't mind the crackling on the pork crackling, mate. That's okay, mate. Okay, here's the story. Oh, those animal fats, they're all right, mate. No, won't hurt you. I suppose, yeah, you are what you eat, So at the end of the day, here it is. End of the day, these are the cells in the body. They join together like this. Positives and negatives, right? Now, a fat cell, and there's a video. Do you want to see the videos? They're on the longevity page on Healy's lowerbackcare.com. Go onto that page and go down the bottom. You'll see Dr. Amingo's got, and I've got a couple others, but he's the best because he's a graphic artist as well. Great education doctor, fantastic guy, I love him. And so your polyunsaturated fats, here's the simple thing. Think of a tadpole, right? Now, the tadpole, say that's the head of the tadpole. There's monoculus are the head of the tadpole. Now, a saturated fat tadpole, if I want to use that analogy, looks like this. Not like that. Looks like this, right? And that's it swimming through your bloodstream. And then the body picks it up and uses it. They use fats and proteins to make your cell walls. So here's your cell walls. That's a saturated fat. It's all like that. Closed matrix. Nothing gets through it very well. Maybe a spike protein. Excuse me, I better not talk about that. So here we go. Now, that's a saturated fat going through your bloodstream. Now, here's a polyunsaturated fat. They have tails on them. They look like tadpoles with two tails. Zoom. That's an unsaturated fat. Now, that's what unsaturated fats look like when they're in the body's cell matrix. They're open-ended. So nutrients can flow in and out of the cells. Now, I'm not going to get into this in this video, but it's a whole bioscience study. But at the end of the day, nutrients are taken into the cell by positive and negative ion charges. It's actually fascinating. So the cell sits in this cytoplasm with all its components. The walls aren't, your body's walls aren't solid. They're like that. If they're saturated, they're like that. Very hard to penetrate. That's why saturated fats are not a good idea for building muscle or building your walls, building arterial walls especially. Unsaturated, they've got the negative and positive ions on the tail of the particle, opposing positive and negative, so the open matrix. So the negative and positive flow of nutrients through the cell walls, the micro effect, can pass through a lot more easily. So that's why flax oils, especially hemp seed oils, the same, you know, and the MCT oils, especially flax, it makes the body's cells, you know, you think of your arteries, they make them all pliable. Think of an artery. I won't go on about this, but it's a fascinating subject. Here's your artery. It's muscle. Boom, 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 like this. Now, you start a whole lot of saturated fats and sugars and all this. Next minute, it closes. There's plaque. There's like particles that sit in the cell, in the artery. But if you've got polyunsaturated fats in the system, it becomes super flexible, like very rubbery, so to speak, if you use that term, and then very open, so your blood can pass through, and that pumping effect, your heart, the pumping effect goes all the way through down to your capillaries. And then we can talk about dry needling. That's another subject, right? Okay, that's Graham Healy over and out. There's a little bit of a biochemistry lesson there, Graham Healy's way. But that gives you a little bit of idea. And in the statement, you are what you eat, you're actually, the whole body is this, it's in a, you know, I've done 6 years of studying every single part of the body you'd like, from the muscles through the skeletal system, through the nervous system, in great detail. And I'm telling you, it's an inner universe. And, you know, what you put in the body is critical, right? Most people treat their body like a garbage tin, but we're not going to do that, are we? We're going to treat our body like a temple, like in the, you know, from the Christian perspective, the scriptures itself, just to throw this one out there, said the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, right? Most people, and these would be a lot of them in churches, mind you, treat their body like a garbage tin. Now, having been an elite athlete myself in martial arts, boxing, I used to be a almost semi-professional runner at one point. I'm telling you, in boxing, for instance, when I was trained, I trained myself to the point where I actually fought professional fighters as an amateur. And that fitness level that you get to, and your diet's really spot on, you're lean, you're mean, and you're a fighting machine, right? When you get to that point, you know what it's like to have a body that matches the talk. No, I remember this. I'll leave it on this. I remember when I was 19, there was a main fights, organised the PCYC in Townsville, and there was a boxing club, pretty bad guys used to run this one, and I'd given one of their so-called, number one fighters, I'd given him a bit of a hiding. I was pretty good. I was a main sparring partner for most of the Queensland State champions, actually, and I'd given this guy who held 2 professional titles. I'd made him look quite amateurish, because I don't care what titles these guys have got. It depends who's teaching them and what they actually know is what, you don't make a good fighter by, a good fighter or good boxers made and broken. They make them by the trainer. And my trainer was my father, was Queensland State champion, grandfather, Bert Healy Senior, was a professional boxing coach, very well renowned in Cairns, Gordonvale area. Bert Healy, they still remember him up there. So I'm in this dressing room, and this guy, I won't say his name, but he was a professional fighter. I was an amateur. They had pulled him in as a ring-in to give me a hiding, right? And I had trained myself to the minute. I knew I was in top condition. And this guy, I was only 19, and he was probably about 27, 28, tattoos all over him. Those days, if you had tattoos, you knew they'd been in and out of jail. And not like today, everyone's got tattoos for a fashion statement. Oh, I got some ink. Yeah, well, those days, about 30, 40 years ago, anyone who had ink was from prison. So he had ink all over him. And I thought, God, I've got some character here. And in the dressing room, he kept saying to me, I'm going to kill you, boy. I'm going to kill you. Right? Trying to outpsych me. No, I didn't say anything. And inside my head, I thought, yeah, my father is a Queensland state champion. He trained me. My grandfather, 50 years as a professional boxing coach and a professional boxer. I've trained in his gym. I've sparred his top boys. I've done thousands of rounds of sparring. For this fight, I've done all the sprinting. I've done all the early morning sprints, the stair runs, all the sparring. And I thought, I'm ready. We'll see how you go. And I knocked him out in the second round, although they rung the bell short. Another story. But they reckon it was the best fight they'd seen there at the PCYC for a very long time. Plenty of action. This guy was a hard dude. He was like a smoking Joe Frazier, throw leather everywhere. I'm a straight puncher. And I got those big straight punches in on him. And I'm a bit like, I'm a fan of Paul Briggs. And Briggs, he's got probably one of the best right hands I've seen ever when he fought Adam Ack for the world light heavyweight title. I sort of got that sort of style. I'm a defensive fighter, but we've got the big rights and the rips and all this sort of stuff. So, Muhammad Ali versus Smoking Joe Frazier. Even though I met Joe Frazier, love Joe Frazier, love Muhammad Ali, of course, love them all. We were part of the Boxing Hall of Fame and everything like that. And I met all the greats, including Costa Zoo and Jeff Fennick and all these guys. Great boxing fraternity people are great because you know why? They've been through the school of hard knocks. No bullshit with boxers. They know what they can do and they know what they can't do. And in my experience anyhow, most of the boxers that I've met, bar a few meatheads, but they were really good blokes. In the ring, a bit different. The purpose is to try and knock someone out. But out of the ring, they're really nature's gentlemen, most of them, and it's an individual sport, boxing. Anyway, that's a bit of a boxing thing on the diet thing. So just to let you know that I have, in my life experience, I've been to the elite level in sport, and I know what it's like to have your body performing at 110%. And I'm telling you, to have a body performing at 110%, you don't feed it with crap. I'll leave you on that note and have a good day and have a think about this boot camp overview that I've given you. Graham Healy over and out. And I'll put a PDF file on this as well. Okay, have a great day. Thank you. Bye now.